Hey everyone, just going through your summative reflection of your work placement. Now this assignment is due next term, week 4, term 3, 15th of August. Don't leave it to the last minute. Now this assignment is all about your reflection on your work placement. So it's based on all the work placement you've done for the year. Now all of you have been recording your work placement in your journal, but this lets you reflect on and evaluate what you've learnt because of the work placement that you've undertaken. So it's a report to review and reflect on your learning experience. And if you don't want to do a report, you could do a PowerPoint with photos and speak to it. But you must demonstrate what your knowledge and understanding of practices in the workplace, the conditions and workplace cultures that you've come across. So you've got to draw on your practical experience in that workplace setting. Okay, these questions, you should cover these and maybe have some headings to help you focus on these questions. What type of work activities did you complete during your work placement? What did you observe regarding the workplace practices, the environment, OC health and safety, equal opportunity, communication, the conditions of work, culture and values of the workplace? Now, you need to express your own opinions about different routines and procedures that you've seen or that you've been involved in. And again, it's 600 words, so it's not a big piece of writing, or it could be an interview or some sort of oral presentation where you're speaking to a PowerPoint or a series of photos that explains all of these things. So you probably have to jot down some notes and then speak to it to make sure you're covering all of that. I want to go through some examples of past workplace reflections, and these are all available on Edmodo, so you can get them off and have a look at them. This one here got an A-, and I want to talk to you about how they got their A-. So we're just going to go through it. And this student did electrotechnology, and they were doing a pre-vocational course and work experience in the holidays. So simply saying, I worked long 8-hour days instead of my normal 6 hours at school. So they're comparing already the difference between work and school. Found it more tiring and physical, but I prefer the work to anything I've done before and see it much like my casual job in many ways. But it was better as it was more interesting and I was learning new skills. So they're reflecting on what they're learning all the time, even in the introductory paragraph. Many of the skills I had to use I didn't know before, but I did use my OC health and safety. The tradesman supplied me with all the necessary PPE, but gave me a choice as to whether I should use it or not. They didn't wear PPE. This put me in a strange position because I wanted to be safe, but it wasn't clear if they wanted me to be safe. I decided to wear the PPE as I do not want to get injured, but I saw tradesmen not wearing personal protective equipment and the kitchen was not cleaned up properly, so I was scratched with a nail hidden in a bit of wood. I found this strange, as even I knew from jobs up that OC health and safety is important, but this was their choice and they explained that they generally just can't be bothered. I also got to incorporate my first aid learning into my work experience by finding out that the first aid kits were behind the passenger seats in the vans. So over here in the yellow box, this is where the teacher's gone. This shows clear understanding and well-informed explanation about OC health and safety. So they got an A for knowledge and understanding. Here we go again. I was drilling holes in walls, chiselling, chasing holes down walls, so they're explaining the task that they were actually doing. Putting seed brackets on brick and gyprock walls, feeding cables, clipping cables, blah, blah, blah. I was cleaning up after myself and other tradespeople working in the same area. It was tough to do some tasks that I've been given as I had no idea to even how to begin them. This made it kind of awkward, as I would then have to ask them to show me how to perform a task or get them to assign me to another task while he completed that one. It made it awkward because if the tradesmen were to show me what was happening, I was taking them away from the job they were doing and therefore increasing the time they spent at a single job. So they're showing they've got a very good understanding and an advanced level of knowledge and skills and competencies to being an electrician. So they're showing that excellent knowledge and understanding. It's important to speak and write well. Here we go with employability skills. Time sheets about how long they spend at a job, overtime rates, expense, travel time, all had to be completed. Communication between the employer and the employees was in the form of job cards, which inform the employee about where they'll be working on a certain day and what sort of work they have to perform. The employer also often rings during the day to see where they're up to and to see if they have time to go to other jobs. The tradesmen I work with also had to communicate with the customers. They had to do a certificate of compliance at the end of every job to be given to the employer. And here we're showing investigation analysis. There were heavy consequences if work is not done properly. Fines of up to $200,000 or instant stripping of one's electrical licence, as work not done properly could end up with someone getting killed or seriously injured. The manager told me that sometimes job cards and timesheets were wrongly filled out to give a person more hours or to make it like they use less stock, which in turn means less profit for the company, and I thought this was wrong. So there's good analysis there. The stock would have to be checked a lot to make sure this doesn't happen, and it probably explains why the employer rings up during the day. If I was the boss, I'd be checking up on them. So he must have been working in a team, and maybe this person could have explained that a little bit more as well, but they've done a good job of looking at what this issue was. They've investigated the fines and they understand what that means for the workplace. And the final two paragraphs, over the period of work experience, I felt part of both teams that I work with. When I get to know the tradesmen I work with, I felt much more comfortable in my surroundings. I think they liked that I was prepared to try everything as well as talk about footy and laugh. So that's talking about those personal attributes, your sense of humour. This is all important as some days it was just me and the other person all day. I made a few mistakes during my work experience, but no one seemed to get overly worked up about it. They would tell me what I did wrong, or I would redo what I didn't do the first time, and this helped me to learn. Another employability skill is learning. Sometimes they've even asked how I'd been taught to do some things. Everyone liked having an extra pair of hands around to help with feeding cables, gathering tools out of the work van and performing other tasks with them. Made me feel independent even though I was working with a tradesman. It gave me a real sense of what life will be like after I finish school. So again, it's reflecting on their learning experience. So the reflection evaluation part, self-evaluation, how they went, even though they made mistakes. The student is really reflecting at a high level. I like the placement, and I have seen a vast improvement in my knowledge of electrical related and mechanical products. In this hands-on experience that has vastly improved my knowledge and skills, it's been much better than any classroom knowledge I've gained, as I am only learning easy stuff at the moment. According to my mentors from the different companies, I performed most of the tasks satisfactorily and was enthusiastic about my work. I could not perform some tasks as they were beyond my knowledge and ability, but now I know what I have to learn if I want an apprenticeship. The Jobs Up course I'm doing could lead me to another certificate or apprenticeship with Jobs Up or any other company. This is where I want to be in 12 months. So that student has shown that they've got a high level of knowledge and understanding of what's relevant to the industry. Some concepts related to industry and work, maybe they could have found out a bit more about union membership and things like that, or other industrial relations issues. They did cover OC and health and safety really well. The analysis of what was happening with the jobs cards, that was really good, and the reflection was at a high level. So when you're doing this, make sure you're remembering to use your portfolio of workplace learning, the booklet that you've created. That's why all those questions are in there, so that you can use it to build up this piece here. This got an A-. I hope you all get A+.